I'm administering the Community Integration Questionnaire on Lupita, a 28-year-old female diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury due to a car accident. All right, Lupita, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about home integration. Who usually does the shopping for groceries or other necessities in your household? Yourself alone, yourself and someone else, or someone else?
Myself and my husband.
Okay. Who usually prepares meals in your household? Yourself alone, yourself and someone else, or someone else?
Myself.
Okay. In your home, who usually does normal everyday housework? Yourself alone, yourself and someone else, or someone else?
Me, but sometimes my husband.
Who usually cares for the children in your home? Yourself alone, yourself and someone else, or someone else?
Myself and my husband.
Who usually plans social arrangements such as get-togethers with family and friends? Yourself alone, yourself and someone else, or someone else?
Myself.
All right. So now, Lupita, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about social integration.
Gotcha.
Who usually looks after your personal finances, such as banking and paying bills? Yourself alone, yourself and someone else, or someone else?
My husband.
All right, so approximately how many times a month do you now usually participate in shopping outside your home? 5 or more times a month? 1 to 4 times a month? Or never?
5 or more times.
All right, so approximately how many times a month do you now usually participate in leisure activities such as the movies or sports and going out to eat? 5 or more times a month? 1 through 4 times a month? Or never?
1 to 4 times.
All right, approximately how many times a month do you now usually visit friends or relatives outside your home? 5 or more times a month? 1 through 4 times a month? Or never?
1 to 4 times a month.
Okay. When you participate in leisure activities, do you usually do this alone or with others? Well, mostly alone, mostly with friends who have injuries, mostly with family members, mostly with friends who do not have head injuries, with a combination of friends and family.
Mostly with friends who don't have any injuries.
Okay. Do you have a best friend with whom you confide?
Yeah.
All right. So now, Lupita, I'm going to ask you a series of questions about integration and productive activities.
Okay.
How often do you travel outside your home? Almost every day? Almost every week? Seldom?
Almost every day.
All right. All right, so please choose the best answer that corresponds to your current work situation. Are you a full-time employee? So that'll be greater than 20 hours a week. Part-time employee, less than 20 hours a week. Not working but actively looking for work. Not working and not looking for work. Not applicable due to old age, retirement.
Full time.
All right. So please choose the answer that best corresponds with your current school or training program situation. Are you a full-time student, part-time student, or not attending school?
I don't attend school.
In the past month, how often did you engage in voluntary activities? 5 or more times a month, 1 through 4 times a month, or never?
Never.
All right, Lupita. And that sums up our interview with the Community Integration Questionnaire. Thank you so much. All right, so this is how the Community Integration Questionnaire is scored. We asked the client who usually does shopping for groceries or other necessity in your household. She answered herself and her husband, so she scored a 1. Who usually prepares meals in your household? She said herself alone, so she scored a 2. In your home, who usually does normal everyday housework? She said herself and her husband, so she scored a 1. Who usually cares for children in your home? She said herself and her husband, so she scored a 1. Who usually plans social arrangements such as get-togethers with family and friends? She said herself alone, so she scored a 2. So when we add these all together for the home integration, she got a total score of a 7. All right, so for social integration, we asked the client who usually looks after your personal finances such as banking or paying bills. She said her husband, so that would be someone else, so she scored a 0. All right, so we asked the client approximately how many times a month do you now usually participate in shopping outside of your home? She said 5 or more times a month, so she scored a 2. Approximately how many times a month do you now usually participate in leisure activities such as movies, sports, and restaurants outside of your home? She said 1 through 4 times a month, so she scored a 1. Approximately how many times a month do you now usually visit friends or relatives outside of your home? She said 1 through 4 times a month, so she scored a 1. When you participate in leisure activities, do you usually do this alone or with others? She said mostly with friends who do not have head injuries, so she scored a 2. Do you have a best friend with whom you confide? She said yes, so she scored a 2, which gave us the total score of 8 for social integration. So for integration into productive activities, we asked the client, how often do you travel outside of your home? She said almost every day, so she scored a 2. Now for these questions we use a separate scoring sheet, which is here. So we asked the client, please choose the answer that best corresponds to your current work situation during the past month. So the client said she is a full-time employee, greater than 20 hours a week. And then we asked, please choose the answer that best corresponds with your current school or training program situation over the past month. She said not attending school or training program. Then we asked the client, in the past month, how often did you engage in voluntary activities? She said never. So with these results, over here we have item 13, which is the question 13. So she answered full-time employee. So we mark full-time here. For item 14, she answered not attending school. So we marked no school here. And for item 15, any answer was acceptable in our scoring. So full-time employee, no school, and any answer. So she scored a 4. So for the productive activities integration, we added together a 2 and a 4 for a total of 6. Our total score of home integration, which was a 7, social integration, which was a 8, and productivity integration, which was a 6, we get a total score of 21. Client received an overall community integration questionnaire score of 21 out of a possible 29. Client indicating moderate community integration. Within the community integration questionnaire subdomains, client scored the highest in social integration, receiving an 8, followed by home integration, receiving a 7, and productivity integration, receiving a 6.